Colonel Roy Campbell here. Do not turn the game console off. The mission has not failed because you are listening to Raw Dogs. You have a mission. Listen up. Enjoy. Roy Campbell, out.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Raw Dogs, the very first episode of the year.
New year, baby.
And you know what that means? New year, same jerks, and it's Mega Manuary X time.
It is.
And, you know, I guess Mega Manuary was just something stupid I thought in my head. I'm like, that'd be funny. And now I've cursed us to spend another 2 episodes this month discussing Mega Man X this time, but
yeah.
My name is Brad, and I'm the guy that actually went and beat every single Mega Man X game for this podcast.
Okay, my name is Dylan, and as always, I'm the lazy one. I didn't do too much. I played a little bit of the first Legacy Collection. 1 through 3 are obviously, spoiler alert, very good video games. So I'm happy to talk about them. And then it just kind of gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm Jamie. I played Legacy Collection all of yesterday.
Whoa.
There's some good ones in there. There's some terrible ones
Get
in
a
there.
job, you bum.
Oh, yeah.
It's January, man. You only have to work 1 day a week according to the January rules.
Yeah. I work 1 day a week next week. It's going to be tough, boys. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Is that really it? That's all you do?
Right now.
Oh, I see. I understand.
And returning to the show is the resident Mega Man expert of Milwaukee.
Yeah, my name's Nate. Way more into the original Mega Mans than Mega Man X, but I gave him a shot until my controller took a crap because you can't play it on PC without a controller. Facts.
Really?
Well, you can, but it's just not good.
The button scheme and layout, and it's just too much. I couldn't do it.
You should have asked for any of my classic controllers. All of those are just USB. You could have plug a PS4 controller into that.
Prefers the point and click action of Mega Man.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Aiming, it's important. Factual.
Do you remember Mega Man X9, where it was just a point and click adventure game?
It was like Myst.
Yeah, exactly.
This actually is kind of Nate's fault too, because the reason the first Mega Manuary happened was I asked Nate when we were working together. I said, what's your favorite video game of all time? He said, Mega Man, love them. And turns out he really loved a few of them, hadn't played most of them, but...
Though 1 through 3, I spent way too much of my childhood playing, and then after that, it kind of drizzled out and tapered off around Mega Man 8, I think.
And the Raw Dogs are part of the HyperX Podcast Network. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later, but awesome podcast network. Check that out. And so, yes, we are talking about the Mega Man X series of games. We briefly discussed some of our history with them. I'll just say some of the most epic gaming I remember as a child was seeing my friend at David Bose's house. He had the original Mega Man X and the Super Nintendo. I think it was one of my first times seeing a Super Nintendo, and I knew this was the most hardcore, edgy video game I've ever seen.
When it's you actually just the cutest thing on the face of the planet.
It's adorable, but the music was just up a notch. It was kind of a little more electric guitar-y. And it's definitely still Mega Man, but Mega Man X was my initiation into this part of the franchise. And then I had completely forgotten we owned a Mega Man X4 on the PlayStation 1. And I actually have a lot of good feelings about that game as well, but getting ready for this specific series this January, I finally grabbed my Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2 for the Switch, and I played through 1 through 8. I played through the 2 Gameboy Color games, Extreme 1 and Extreme 2.
Is that on the second Legacy Collection?
No, I did that on my computer.
I see.
And I tried to do Mega Man X Command Mission a little bit. I didn't want to jump into it. There is a turn-based RPG for the GameCube in the Mega Man X franchise. Some interesting things, but I didn't have the nerve to start that up.
No.
But
you would have been too into it.
Yeah. So when you guys hear Mega Man X, what's the first thing that you think of?
I think about the character designs, literally,
So you're
just how silly some of them are. I mean, they're all animals.
well. I mean,
That's
okay.
the craziest part about it. Like, there's just like, I'm going to fight a penguin guy.
He's very chill though.
He's very chill, but you wouldn't
Almost
know
too
that
chill.
from the fight. 'Cause-
He's too chill.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
why everyone chooses to take him down first.
But
I
I
don't-
don't remember. They took off the naming convention of man after everything, so it switched to animals.
That's true.
Yes. And
They're really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
well, let's jump into this. Mega Man X. This is published and developed by Capcom, and that'll be for all of these games unless stated otherwise today. The first Mega Man game for the 16-bit generation, and it is a spin-off of the main series, not Mega Man 10, which I'm sure maybe confused a few people back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And release date, December 17th, 1993 in Japan. Came out a month later here in North America. Development was Keiji Inafune of the Mega Man legend, someone who was a co-creator and was given control of this series. He was in charge of design, art, and writing. And since RPGs were very popular at the time, they decided to include some of those elements initially and more as the franchise went on, I think possibly to the detriment. And it fueled the idea of armor attachments, but new characters. Mega Man X. Now, this character is very different than what you're used to from the Mega Man series.
Totally.
I was blown away.
Knuckles.
Yeah, it's the fact that they're just like, no, it's a new character. Did anyone actually think it was?
Well, and why does it need to be a new character? He's a robot boy. He could just have been upgraded.
His
And maybe-
name is X, but why then use Mega Man as the word?
Well, famously, Inafune created Zero to be the star of the new series, and everyone's like, well,
He's the guy that literally brought a knife to the gunfight. Like,
and actually, no knife in the first game. Surprisingly, it's not until Surges created it for him in the second game. You guys knew that,
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I knew that.
but yeah, Zero was originally intended to be the protagonist, and Inafune said when he was going with his design philosophy of hardcore for Zero. So I remember
Put him next to Mega Man. Yeah, he looks pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
it took me too long to realize Zero was not a female character.
Well, anything with long hair. That was the whole idea.
Long blonde hair, and Zero also has those green boobs, like on
One way
the
of
chest
descri-
plate.
It's one way of describing them.
That's what I saw as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, he's wearing a bra, and he's a long blonde haired robot, but he's cool.
you can just picture the development meeting for that. He's not edgy enough. Give him boobs.
Give him headlights.
Give him a ponytail.
We'll call him Headlights. Yeah.
Yeah,
Headlights, man.
So
that's
yeah,
pretty extreme.
we have X, who is just Mega Man again, but there is a few, if you want to get technical, some differences about him. He has the capacity to make his own moral decisions.
Wow, Mega Man didn't.
And no, he was designed to be a certain way, whereas X is designed to be able to make his own choices. And of course, the X stands for infinite potential. Of course. And
Gee.
yes. And then the new villain, we have Sigma.
Well, isn't the new, if I'm correct or whatever, there were robots or cyborgs in the first one, and then the new one is their
Reploid.
Reploids. Yep, that's the one.
That's edgy.
They're just robots in the first one. And we're going to talk about the lore of this series in the next episode. But suffice it to say, the Reploids are derivative of X himself. X was found in a capsule after 100 years by Dr. Kane, who tried to replicate him, didn't understand it. That's why the replication is a Reploid. Zero was created by Dr. Wily, who was bad, brought the Maverick virus forward. It's a whole thing. But
But was he really bad? Dr. Wily? Come on, let's...
Dr. Wily was comically evil, and there was, I don't think, any, like, it's hard to make that argument unless you're doing it tongue-in-cheek, whereas I think Sigma and the Mavericks, you could just say, they're just standing up for Reploid rights. They're trying to do their own thing. I don't know. They did try to have the story be a little bit more mature. They wanted this to be edgy, and they didn't want it to be like a silly little blue boy in pajamas doing awkward side jumps. They wanted this to feel more intense and a little more exciting, I believe.
And it is. It's a lot more exciting. Those Mega Man games, for as much as I love them, they are very rudimentary, and it's this whole Japanese philosophy of just kind of giving people the same shit over and over again.
It's a philosophy for a lot of game developers nowadays,
It's
too.
Assassin's Creed much? Good fucking God.
Call of Duty.
Yep.
The list goes on.
New to the X series, we have the dash.
The dash.
Wall climb. And
Only if you get it.
if you pick up the absolutely mandatory boots that you can't skip in Chill Penguin stage,
Well,
they are in the hallway, unable to go around them. At least those. But the dash is new. Wall climbing is new. And armor enhancements are a new thing where you can look even more badass.
I guess my big thing is you still can't duck. Come on.
Yeah, not in the original 3.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is a little more fast paced, but I wouldn't say it's more difficult. If anything, I think the X series is quite a bit easier, maybe compared to the original Mega Man.
I would
Mega Mans.
agree.
Forgiving. I think they're a lot more like forgiving, and if you go a little slower, I think the game is slightly easier.
And there's 8 more bits to it, so that makes it easier.
there you go. I mean, one of the things immediately is that the economy of the screen is used a little bit better. There aren't like cheap enemies flying from out of fucking nowhere and spawning, and like cheap deaths aren't really a thing in this because you have that weird wall jump. The wall jump, which is a perfect addition.
Yeah.
First few times I played it though, I was like, what? This doesn't even make any fucking sense. I feel like they stumbled upon that on accident. That must have been.
It was a glitch in the code. It's like, oh, that's edgy.
Yeah, but look I can climb the walls by doing dumb, silly looking jumps.
But it's pretty edgy.
Literally.
It's
yeah.
not
yeah.
at all.
It's almost too edgy, guys.
I didn't like it. I don't like the whole wall jumping scenario. It's like you're climbing with extra steps.
You're a
just
you're a
along the
purist.
cliff. Yeah, just very, very purist.
Put a fucking ladder there.
yeah, exactly.
A lot of things stayed the same. It's a standard action platform game. Charge shots are there. You must complete a set of 8 stages and bosses, and it'll turn into a rock, paper, scissors type scenario with bosses' weapons. Generally, sometimes it's more effective than others, and bosses drop weapons, strengths against others. There will be usually a series of 2 to 4 stages afterwards, where you have like the final boss stages.
Yeah.
Fight them all again. And there's the same bullshit boss that they've somehow
hate that,
contrived back into the end, because don't make a new boss. Just have it be the same guy who manipulated who you thought was the boss.
It's cheaper that way.
That's what we do, right? Password system used to save. Mega Man X.
Yeah, yikes.
I don't know. I think overall Mega
There
Man
should have been an era when that was unnecessary.
Yeah. Although the password system allowed you to just go to gamefax.com and grab passwords.
That's true. It's a very simple game. Either you did the thing or you didn't do the thing. There aren't a lot of like little bits and pieces in there. I think all they account for is if you defeated the boss and if you got the pickup. That's it.
And then also the heart tanks. What do they all got in there? They have first you can collect the upgrades: foot parts, body parts, arm parts, head parts.
The head parts are so funny.
They're so like varied. And then there are heart tanks and sub tanks as well. Something they did a lot more in these games is exploration and hidden items. Instead of just finding like a sub tank or like that one random E tank you see, this one, they have a lot of.
Some of them are genuinely surprising too. Like if you really weren't paying attention or tried to scratch every little corner, you wouldn't find that shit.
Yeah. And there's such a variety of, wow, I can see it. I did the puzzle. I knew what item I needed and I figured it out. And some just accidentally bump into a wall and fall through it.
Yep.
Which there are the bullshit ones, which I don't ever think is great game design. But some of them are genuinely fun. And it is, I remember, collecting the armor parts and my buddy's like, I got all of them. And then you eventually, of course, can unlock the Hadouken, which seems that's one of those myths you hear about when you're a kid.
You need to get the COD piece before you get that, though.
Yes, you need all the pieces, including the COD piece.
I liked the concept of the armor parts. I didn't like the hidden things because I missed a lot of them, and I'm the guy that does the side quests and wants to get all the stuff, and I'm not very good at it, so I need the benefits. And I found it really hard to find them. I cheated. I looked online for a lot. Once I realized they were there, because I went into it blind, and then once I realized I wasn't getting the stuff I was supposed to get, I was a little disappointed in myself.
Are you saying you didn't collect every item, then go to Chill Penguin stage, jump over the hard gap 5 times in a row, and then kill yourself, and then do it again? You didn't do that 5 times to get the Hadouken without being told you had to?
I know, right?
It was right in front of you the whole time, dude.
Is that one of those things when they made the game too? They're like, do we tell them or just wait till somebody stumbles on this in 8 years? Because
Well, that's kind of what's brilliant, especially about these older games. People had less video games in general. Like normally they were seen as like kid objects, so like kids get one game usually every like couple months
Every
or whatever.
Christmas.
Oh well, no, I would have died. I would want to play Minority Report. Everybody runs for the next year.
But it's like the best game ever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the original Mega Mans, and that was like what we did when we weren't swimming at my grandparents' house. It was pretty fantastic.
Oh yeah. I mean, video games are so much more now, and I know it's like kind of rote to say it, but it's like, man, video games. There were like only a few of them really for you.
yeah, this of course has a brilliant story, the Mega Man X series. There are times when you have to read and you can't choose not to, which I don't remember that really happening other than when you ran into Wily at the end and you said, Mega Man, sorry, and he ran away. But Mega Man X, the first one, I think is a near perfect game. And the story is mostly a minimum. The moments where Zero jumps in to save you makes Zero just look like the ultimate badass every time.
Yep.
Truly a Knuckles, the Proto Man of this series. Big fan of how that all is laid out. There's the 8 robot masters. Clearing some stages will cause effects in the other, which I believe this is the first Mega Man game in general to do so. They did make it into the other Mega Man games, the main franchise later, but I believe this was the first one to have it.
Which is really cool. It really helps with the world building.
Yeah,
I love
interconnects
stuff
it.
like that. Yeah, it's like with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Like there's a context to like the world around you, and not a lot of games really gave a shit about doing stuff like that. Really pulls you in. It's nice.
Very immersive. I forgot I was Brad for a while.
And you thought you were X?
I thought it was just X.
Oh yeah, you would be X for sure.
Yeah.
You were like when the teacher at school is like, now does anyone have a nickname? And Brad just goes, oh, I'm no longer Brad. I'm X.
Call me X.
Call me X.
Or Mega Man X.
And then someone
I don't want anyone to think I'm not a Mega Man, so I need to put that in front too sometimes.
And then someone kicked dirt in your eye.
It was vile.
It was
Got him.
got him.
Yeah, Mega Man X is pretty great. Difficulty wasn't terrible,
No.
but these games more and more as you move on, there is the initial barrier where you have to choose the first boss, figure out how to break through to get your first item. Usually people go to Chill Penguin because you get the mandatory dash boots. And you can't collect any other armor parts without those, which is unfortunate, but eventually you do start getting heart tanks and everything. But like the body parts reduce damage by 50%, which is an obscenely powerful part that you almost definitely need to get.
Wildly necessary.
Yeah, the head part is super stupid in this. You can break blocks with your head,
Yes,
which is only used in 3 spots. And
You just look like a jackass doing it. You're just like, ah, rah, 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 rah. And then but in order to get another part, you have to continuously, you're propelling yourself by hitting the rocks. So that's really not good game design. And then there's like I think for one of them, you have to do like a pixel perfect kind of, I fucking hate that shit. I really hate that kind of stuff in video games. It's not, at what point does it stop being rewarding? You know? It's like, yeah, you got it, but...
Mega Man X2 or 3 is when it stops being rewarding.
Yes, because you've done it too much.
Oh, by the time I hit X6, I was pulling my hair out. Like, it was bad.
Well, that's the whole.
Your wig's looking really nice.
Thank you.
That's the issue with Mega Man in general. Like, it's a good game. There's some nostalgia there, but it's the repetition. It just gets to you, right? It's like, realistically, other than minutia being added in, the RPG elements are cool and everything, but realistically, it just still feels like Mega Man X.
And Mega Man, they really go in waves, whereas someone made the first Mega Man game for the Nintendo, and then the next 5 are built off that. Subtle changes.
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man X, 1, 2, and 3, they're a trilogy. Same basic system, and then you just move forward, and then Mega Man X 4 through 6 does the same thing. It's just mostly the same game with subtle tweaks.
Which one had the weird art style change? Was that
4 is the first one that made the jump to the PlayStation.
Yep. Okay.
And it
Saturn.
does, and it looks good to this day.
Yeah.
I will say that.
That's one with the anime cutscene, right?
The first with the anime cutscene, yes.
Yeah. Because and then 5 they got rid of it, or was that 6?
There was at one point where they didn't want to take the time because they didn't want to spend the money. They just needed to make the money. But yeah, that was Mega Man X1. 1 year later, Mega Man X2 arrives, December 16th, 1994, and a month later here in North America. The cartridges included the CX4 enhancement chip to allow for 3D wireframe effects.
Shit.
And the team was instructed to utilize this technology as much as possible because it was very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah, I remember when you beat Sigma and a stupid fucking wireframe starts chasing you around. Apparently, this blew people away back in the day. People were very impressed with it. Mm-hmm. Something that happens with the originals and all over the Legacy collection is a shitload of chugging.
Yeah.
When there is a certain number of projectiles and enemies on the screen, it is obscene how bad it is. But I guess that is the question with emulation. Do you maintain the chug from before and have it be accurate, or do you take it out?
It's a tough call.
That's a tough call. Maybe just have the option in there for people, but I know some people would be purists like Nate and says, Mega Man doesn't wall climb.
You need a chug button.
He chugs.
There was a couple things that I like the wall climb just irked me because I thought it was silly and I had a hard time with it. But other than that, like the dash
computer,
was
yeah.
good. The charge shot is a different layer of strategy, I guess. But at the same time, like you're just gonna try and hold a charge shot and hit the one shot against a boss all the time in almost every scenario I remember, just because.
There were a lot of buttons being pressed at the same time in this game, from what I remember too. Because if you want to hold that down, but you still want to wall jump, you have to do this like subtle kind of
you have to
thing.
Morph your thumb a little bit.
Because then there's the dash jump off the wall as well, where if you hit dash and jump at the same time, you have like a faster, longer jump.
Yeah.
And that was hard to do if you're trying to charge as well.
I didn't even know. So yeah, didn't know that was a thing.
Might be easier on like a real controller. I played it on the Switch, so you have those tiny little buttons.
How dare you?
Yeah.
It's a real controller. How dare
You don't mean the Joy-Cons. Those aren't real controllers.
Yes, they are.
I got my first Joy-Con drift loading up Mega Man X Legacy Edition.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you using the stick for a Mega Man game?
No, but the stick was stuck. So it's like everything was being fucked up. Had to switch out the Joy-Cons.
Really?
Yeah.
You can replace them. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
But Nintendo, actually, you could just send it. The warranty never
That's right.
expires
Yeah.
anymore.
I'm lazy.
Yeah, me too. But they are $80 fucking dollars.
It's expensive.
That's extremely expensive. Or are they 70? What are they?
I think 70.
I want to get a set of those HoriPad ones, which look like a regular controller on the side.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a little more comfortable because
they have
just
the
holding
grips.
the Switch long enough hurts my hands.
I play a lot of like text-based like visual novel games, so it's never been too much of an issue.
You've never cramped up hitting A to to advance the text.
Yeah, no. I do, but I'm just weak.
You try and get speedrun times on text games, so you're just tapping A as fast as you can the whole time.
Yep.
Get carpal tunnel.
Some other things with Mega Man X2, the dash is available immediately. They add a hover cycle stage, which is...
Never liked the hover cycle.
I think some of them play fine. They're just really poorly designed. I like the way it controls, but they throw so much at you so fast you don't really have time to react, which cue Battletoads references or whatever.
Yeah, 100% reminding me of Battletoads, just with a little less of a 3D environment, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I love the Battletoads one. I loved playing that, but this one seemed a little more generic and a little less
You
effort.
like playing the Battletoads one?
Oh man, Battletoads again!
I love
nostalgic
Battletoads.
value.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just wild.
Is this like a generational thing?
I don't
I'm not
know,
aware of?
but try Battletoads X.
Okay.
That's where it's at, man.
Oh, perfect.
My
It's
memory
way
is-
more edgy, dude. They can wall jump.
Zits has actual zits.
right? I mean, I like Battletoads. I played a lot of these old video games with friends in a basement. And we'd just be drinking beer because we weren't going to go out or weren't going to do anything special. And I mean, even into my early adulthood, which was still really fun because I'm just into that stuff. It was really fun.
You can also collect pieces of your friend Zero, who was killed in the previous game, by fighting optional bosses that are available in some of the stages. I guess they're not optional, but they kind of come in randomly. But yes, you can collect, like, I'd be like, oh, I beat up Nate and now I got Dylan's torso.
It's not morbid at all.
No.
It is edgy, though.
I'd carry it with me.
I'd wear it around my neck.
Yeah.
A necklace with just my full, like, chubby ass body, just fucking gross ass hanging off. Of
I would
it.
make a skin mask out of your face and
Exactly.
just wear it.
Yeah, be perfect. It'd probably power you up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
People would definitely be afraid of you.
Hey, Dylan, Jamie, your face is melting off. Oh, sorry, man. Rearrange.
Plenty edgy.
I pretended to like. It's like no. I guess the mouth isn't really quite matched up here, huh?
The mouth is up at your nose for no reason.
Some of the armor parts had different functions here. The head part had an item tracer that helped you identify hidden passages and items, but incredibly wonky to use. Unless you were in the very specific spot where you needed it, it wouldn't do anything. So you'd have to kind of just do it constantly through a stage if you didn't want to just Google where the fuck things were actually at.
That stuff drives me nuts. Like, again, with the completionist and side quests and all this other garbage, you got that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not, like, after a while, you just can't keep doing it. And you're not going to because it's not rewarding. You're not getting anything out of it, but you still really desperately want to find the stuff.
And good game design should have, you see that there's something above you, like a narrow passageway, or you can see the thing off in the distance and you're like, I have no way to get over those spikes.
Right.
And then you remember it and you know to come back there. And that's fun design. That is a reason I have to come back to the stage because I clearly don't have whatever I need to get there. Not super dumb shit that there's no way you would know, which is sprinkled throughout this entire series.
But that was game design all the way back from the original NES, right? Like, look at the Mario games. You know, there's tons of really weird secrets.
But those are kind of different though, where in like Mario 3, you just hold down on that random thing. It's just a way to help skip through to like other worlds after you've already played through some of the game. It doesn't it's not like I won't get this reduce damage by half unless I do some really outrageous shit. It's just a easier way to skip through the game. I don't know. Like in the original Mega Man games, you see the tanks, you see what is out there. I think it's a little more rewarding than when you figure it out rather than, wow, that was archaic and stupid.
Well, that's a big thing with video games, especially with me. I don't want to have a reference guide for the thing that should just be giving me the fucking thing.
Typical millennial. Just give me the fucking power up.
No, just don't not just give me not like give me the power up. Not like give me the power up and don't make me earn it. The biggest problem is that if you're the way of engaging your player is to force them or make them feel like gross about not having completed something and have to go to other things to figure out how your game works. That's not fun.
The game is designed around body shaming.
Yeah.
In the original Mega Mans, I liked that it was almost like a temptation. You wanted that energy box or you were on Flying Jet, and it's like, do I go up and out of the way to get it? Like, it's kind of like a trade-off. You had to spend whatever power you had of whatever boss to get there, and it was risky. You could die, things along those lines. Whereas in this, it felt substantially kind of different.
There was one of the original NES games where you actually have to use Rush, and the Rush, you could have Rush armor or limited amount of like Rush jets
6
to get across certain spots.
Yep.
And if you fuck that up, you can't beat the stage.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I think the Rush armor is definitely showing where they wanted to take some of this stuff because the armor is a cool addition. You feel badass, fully powered up.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes the game from what would be as hard as an original NES game for like the original series to I'm an overpowered monster now. And my moral compass says I hate war, but I will fucking kill you.
Oh, yeah. I did like the...
It's like America or something.
Yeah, weird.
USA.
We hate
USA.
We hate war. We hate war.
Back-to-back World War champs.
I could see you wearing that shirt both non-ironically and ironically.
I would never wear that.
It's just a picture of an atomic bomb going off in the background.
Which is one of Dr. Kane's only weaknesses, actually.
An atom bomb?
Yeah, mine too. That's my only weakness.
Okay, hold on. He's going to look it up for me.
Okay. Dr. Kane, known weaknesses, old age, nuclear weapons.
Oh, boy.
Man, we got him pegged. Let's take him down, boys.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good against nuclear weapons.
We're out of
actually.
nuclear weapons.
Is that
Let's
like it?
wait.
Are those his only weaknesses? Because that's impressive.
Yeah. Is it
Wait for him to die or nuclear weapons? Oh.
Is it his weakness in a way that he's really fond of them?
Yeah, so
Chocolate's my weakness.
we have the Mega Man X Maverick Hunter's Field Guide here, which I will say the original Mega Man one was funnier.
It's way funnier.
Yeah.
Because they try and give all of the Robot Masters jobs and likes and the TV shows and music. This one is these characters are supposed to be a little more serious. So I ultimately didn't yield too many interesting things from this, but I read the whole thing and I felt like an asshole the whole time doing it.
I think it'd be better if someone's weakness was peanut butter and they just have an allergy.
Careful, Mega Man. There's peanut butter in that guy.
Wait a minute, who's Mega Man? Oh, you mean X? Yeah, X. Okay.
I think with this as well, it's kind of backwards because if I'm right, the first one, the Mega Man, or all the man things or whatever, they have jobs and their own
Forget
personalities.
about Splash Woman.
The robot.
Sorry, I apologize. There's the Splash Woman.
The Robot Masters, you mean?
Yeah, the Robot Masters, that one. So they're all supposed to be just robots with tasks, but they all have these personalities. And then
I'm
from
not
what
so
I can
sure
tell...
about that. Some of them do.
Well, I mean, the book said they had personalities, whereas now it's the Reploids, and they're supposed to be like more free will robots.
They're supposed to have way more personalities because they have free will, but they don't.
Yeah, they're just like bland. Now they're animal themed, so it's like they don't have personalities.
They
They're
just
just kind of animals.
They just groom themselves all day.
Yeah.
I guess one of the core concepts of this is
I'm Lick Lion.
There we go.
Yeah.
How many licks does it take? Whoa.
I wasn't gonna ask us to come up with like Reploid
Oh my
masters for
God.
this.
Like last time.
Lick Lion can just be the mascot
Lick
for the
Lion.
Raw Dogs.
I'll draw Lick Lion.
Okay.
What's his
Lick
weakness?
Lion.
We need a weakness.
Overstimulation.
and weakness to popsicle parrots technique.
Popsicle Parrot. Oh my God, I'm picturing Popsicle Parrot as weakness. Refrigerated.
I'm orange flavor.
What's at the center? And Mega Man X2, instead of the Hadouken, you acquired the Shoryuken.
Oh yeah.
Which, again, you needed full health to use, instant kill on everyone, but it was the most awkward upward attack, so it was not useful most often. I managed to use it on Sigma once, and some of the upgrades did different things. Doesn't matter too much. The wireframe Sigma I wrote, when you fight him, the game slows down to like 2 frames a second. Just, it's so powerful. The wireframes.
But back then, 2 frames a second, that was like 120 FPS now, right? That was like hardcore.
Much,
Yeah, it was very impressive. I don't care if I couldn't play the game. I just wanted to look at those wires.
Yeah, sometimes that's how I feel.
Okay, I'm gonna read the boss, the Reploid boss's names, and if you have any thoughts you want to mention.
Oh yeah, and if you really need to look at how one looks, because they're pretty buck wild, especially like the illustrations, the official ones. I've got a few favorites. Don't worry.
All right, Overdrive Ostrich,
Love them.
Wire Sponge,
He's like here. I'll show
He's
you.
the grandfather of SpongeBob.
Wheelgator.
Wheelgator's okay.
Yeah, not too exciting.
Wire Sponge just looks like a weird cucumber. I don't actually know. Okay, I don't know what it's. I don't.
It's plant-based on that one.
It's a sponge. I mean, I know. I don't know what a sponge is though.
It's the underwater sea
But this
turd.
isn't an underwater character. He's a forest guy.
Like SpongeBob.
Yeah, in the forest.
We have
Forest Bob.
We have bubble crab. Flame stag.
Flame Stag. I actually played against that one.
Crap.
Flame stag's eye.
Flame Steak sounds like a metal band.
Where
Yeah.
are his horns? The fire.
Yeah. We have morph moth. Which I don't like the name, but I think the design's okay.
Might have been a butterfly. They should have thought butterfly.
Magna centipede
That one's pretty sick.
and crystal snail.
Crystal snail.
Some of these bosses had unique things too, where you use their strength against them. Like you can knock the snail's shell off, and he becomes laughably easy afterwards.
Yeah.
Which I do like that some bosses actually can be permanently affected after you attack them with the right thing.
What would?
Spark Mandrill sounds like a porn star name.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah.
He was a cool one.
Yeah, he was one of the earliest bosses in the first game. I think after Chill Penguin, you fight him.
Yeah, he was super easy though.
Yeah.
Didn't he just like jump up on the wall and jump off and run at you and just kind of did that back and forth?
I mean, are you saying does the Mega Man X series have the same problem as the original? As you have a one square room and the boss can only do so much in there to attack you?
Now hold on. No,
is
sometimes
what
there's
I'm
a raised
saying.
platform in the center, so you can cheese it by hiding in the corners.
But most of them no. Some of these boss stages, like Wheelgater, does have like the like a sea of goop at the bottom. I think it's supposed to be oil.
Yeah.
But most of the stages are still just going to be a square room. Some of them get a little more creative, but
What about the ostrich? I can't remember his name.
that one was kind of unique.
That one was unique. That's what I think I liked about it.
Some of the stage designs are really cool too. I know with Wheelgater, you're on a giant airship, and like the background changes from day to night as you go through it.
And you're destroying it as you move along. I always like stuff like that.
Very cool. And some of the stages are great. Yeah, I think X 1 through 3 are universally pretty appreciated. Although you can see as this series goes on, they add more dialogue, more mandatory bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah. And eventually even extremely unskippable repeat stuff when you die. But Mega Man X3 was released in the Super Nintendo December 1st, 1995. Again, 1 year later. Came to North America a month after that. And then eventually came to the PlayStation and Saturn in 4 months after that because they realized that they wanted it on modern systems as well. Extremely limited SNES copies were made. It was a very limited run. They retailed back in the day $73.95.
That is crazy.
That's insane, right?
That's like modern day prices right now.
Yeah, that is you get a season pass for that much with your game almost.
Yeah.
And
But that CX chip upgrade is really, really, expensive and
it's
edgy. So
the wires, dude.
yeah.
Can you imagine? I need this new Super Nintendo game, Mom. But that's for the Super Nintendo and the PlayStation's been out. I know. It's $74.
It runs better.
My mom would literally walk up to me, slap me, and go, "Oh, fuck yourself! I'm not paying that much."
And jokes on all of them because now the game's worth like $200 at
Yeah, that's true.
used game markets.
My body's got, or my body.
My body.
My body is sore from playing me.
My buddy's got a Mega Man X2 in the original box and everything.
Sealed up.
Yep.
Holy
Sitting in his
shit.
basement, I'm pretty sure.
He should get that in
kid.
a protective case. Don't get it graded because that's bullshit, but get it in something protective.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Ziploc at least.
It's if his dad didn't throw it out because
That-
there was an exodus at one point.
That is one of the situations where you call your parents immediately and be like, hey, there's something of decent value
Yeah.
that will only appreciate probably.
Yeah.
I bought a statue of Lick Lion and it's worth like double now. Do not throw that out.
I'm gonna lick you.
I've been looking too much, and my tongue is all swollen.
He comes.
Ooh, yeah, the popsicle makes his tongue swell out. So
Yes.
He still comes with the original slurping action.
he charges you and his tongue gets stuck on the wall. Oh, that's cold.
Oh, man.
Not again.
Oh.
I'm gonna lick you. It sounds like one of the.
It's just like a tickle me Elmo with a lion head.
We're almost.
Oh God, extra creepy.
We're almost to X4. Yes, so the development for X3, much of the game's design was subcontracted to Minakuchi Engineering, who had worked on the Mega Man Game Boy games.
You can kind of tell, too. The environments in that game, though I prefer the action and feel of it, they're a little bland.
Yeah, a little less inspired and less creative. It's like, all right, we have what we need. Just can you get a stage that functions, get us to a boss? That's what the people want. We're going to give it to them.
That's kind of not typical, but it's not unheard of when a main game company will, subcontract someone else to do a game because their resources are tied up, and then it just doesn't become
How
that
do you think
much.
Breath of the Wild exists? It wouldn't exist without like Monolith or whatever. The people who did Xenoblade Chronicles, like open world. You think Nintendo could have made that? I doubt it.
But my point is,
I actually don't
that's
think so.
that's kind of what I'm saying, but not really. Where Breath of the Wild was an amazing game,
Of course.
versus you have an established series, they offshoot it just because the resources are tied up, and it's just a bullshit game.
And usually, though, like if you have a series, like this is X3, you subcontract, give the Game Boy spin-offs to somebody else. It's
right.
not like going to be Keiji Inafune was probably working on some Street Fighter thing or something at the time. I don't know what he was working on, but
He had a lot of pots on the old burner.
he was a very big person in Capcom at the time.
Do you mean weight wise?
Yeah, he wasn't getting any time to work out.
Tubbo.
Yeah,
Tubbo man.
I'm gonna eat you,
Tubby troglodyte.
Tubby troglodyte. We're gonna accidentally create all of them.
What's his
Is he
weakness?
actually a big guy, or are we
No.
just...
No. He was just an important dude. He
was a big shot.
Capcom at the time.
Okay, I wasn't sure if this was a legit tangent or not, but
Because
now I'm in.
he co-created Mega Man, but then just became the sole creator through word of mouth by him.
Hey guys, you heard that I made Mega Man?
Yeah.
Not that other guy.
Do you remember Bigger Man?
I made him. I
also
don't
made
care. I just wanted to buy a drink at the bar, sir.
Look at this character. It's Mega Man.
Look at Zero. It's a dude. It's a dude who looks like a lady with headlights.
But check out that ponytail.
How about Tubby Troglodyte? You like him?
Just
Modeled
brings
after
up
me.
Brings up his own picture at the bar and just sets it down in front of you.
But he does the slide over
Yeah,
it.
right, like, you interested in that?
It's like a boudoir shot.
Yeah.
The PlayStation and Saturn versions had additional FMV cutscenes, rearranged and remixed music for some reason when the music was already fine. And
Someone got bored.
we should change the music. We just finished it.
And they're like, no,
Just hit
no,
reverse.
Yeah.
no, come on, let's just let it happen.
I do appreciate the you can see the graphical upgrade or
Yeah.
power of the new systems when you got to those new cutscenes.
I like that,
I
yeah.
thought it looked really, really good, really sharp.
It's the era that we're in right now. I mean, you can.
Although the Legacy Collection, you're playing the Super Nintendo ports on that, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Thank you.
And changes for X3. This is the first time Zero is a playable character. Extremely limited capacity and only has one life. If you choose a Zero and die in any way, Zero is permanently dead. Which, great. You gave us that option and you made them permanent. Like, if you fall down one pit, Zero's dead permanently.
But it's more like real life.
It is, I guess it's more like real life. And they were going for realism, you know?
It's edgy.
Edgy. Yeah, that's what I was going for. It feels edgy.
Zero just chain smoking cigarettes and stuff.
The sword in that one feels a little incomplete. Like they didn't really think too hard about it. Why would you never choose the range? Well, like I know the sword's cooler, but man, a range weapon every single time.
Yeah,
right?
the sword is cooler. It's so much less practical when all the stages are designed around shooting.
That's right.
Eventually, they did start making the sword a thing and having like I really like what they do with Zero, and they also added in X3 enhancement chips. So apart from collecting armor parts, you can also collect different chips. You can only have one at a time, or you can get none of them, and then collect the hyper chip in the final stages, which allows you to be Golden Mega Man and get all the power of all the chips at the same time. If Zero does die, you can acquire the Z Saber from Zero in a certain scenario, and Mega Man will have the Saber, which is fine. It's not great. And there are multiple endings. Something that every Mega Man game needs is multiple endings.
Because you're in it for the story.
Because I just want to. I remember just waiting to figure out what happened with Sigma at the end of 2, because it was like, whoa, look at those wires, and
Virus Sigma or whatever.
so many Sigmas, so many viruses. This dude's like a walking STD clinic or something.
That's why it's called Smegma.
Yeah.
Can I just say, first of all, that Sigma is the dumbest looking, unintimidating villain. Like, at least with Dr. Wily, you're like, man, this guy's got some shit up his sleeves. With Sigma, he's just like, oh, I'm big and buff.
Don't you care about the plight of the Reploid Mega Man? I mean, X. I don't know who you are anymore.
Well,
Have you met Lick Lion?
I'm gonna lick you.
They spend a lot of time together.
I'm definitely doing an impression of a Mega Man 8 character.
I like Doritos because I like to lick the dust off.
The best part is licking your fingers.
Cool Ranch.
I'm not chubby.
Cool Ranch. That was a great flavor.
It still is.
And
I just haven't had it in years.
Oh, okay.
the ride armor was something featured before, but in Mega Man X3, you could also collect ride armor modules. So there were certain spots where if you unlocked the original ride armor, which you have to find first, and then you could also collect little F like item or an H or a kangaroo. So it could be the frog armor, the hawk armor, or the kangaroo armor, and all of them only used for maybe one scenario at most, and none of them were that fun.
It's like the frog suit in Mario 3.
It is.
Nice. I got the frog suit for that one water level.
Or that one time you could turn into the stone
The
guy.
Tanuki suit.
Yeah, all those weird things, but they're there. And Mega Man X3 was the farewell to the Super Nintendo for the franchise.
He's like a Funyun.
I didn't even look at his name. I was like, he does look like an onion. Yeah, he is Tornado Tunyon.
He just
I
makes
don't
you cry.
It's funny. There's a hyena one, but he's called Flame Hyenard. I'm like, why couldn't you just say Flame Hyena? You haven't used. What's with the Tunyon? What's a Tunyon? Also, it's not an animal. They're really breaking theme.
They are.
Well,
But he's a very layered character, though.
wait till you hear about X5.
Who's Vile?
Vile is
You encounter him right in the beginning.
he's kind of like a sub mini boss, like side boss in X1, X4. I think it's X4, X5, and then X8. And he's not interesting.
No.
He is the most bland, boring purple stormtrooper who just shows up and then you kill him and that's it.
His machine gun mounted on his shoulder is pretty rad, though. I think we can all
pretty
agree
sweet.
about that.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And
It's a power move.
We'll actually talk a little bit more about him in a bit, but Mega Man X4, this is us coming, and we're back, everyone, hello. This came to the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation August 1st, 1997. So this is 20 months later, year and 8 months after the X3, and then it came 1 month later to the North America. For the development, they wanted to give the Repliforce some moral leeway. Instead of being so blatantly evil, they wanted them to maybe be, I don't know, fucking morally ambiguous, I guess. Initially going to be Saturn exclusive, but since the Saturn was not doing well, it was delayed and made multi-platform. Sony, this is interesting.
Exclusive. That's interesting, though, too.
Oh, this is interesting. Sony originally denied Capcom permission. They're like, nope, we do not want this 2D game, which is very offensive to our Sony PlayStation, which is a 3D monster powerhouse. We don't want your 2D garbage ruining our system.
I spit in your general direction, Capcom.
Yeah, how dare you?
Meanwhile, Symphony of the Night is one of the best playing games ever created.
And reviews are saying, you should skip this. It's 2D.
Yeah. At the time, it's like, oh, you don't need cartoons. Those are for babies. Wind Waker? No. It's the best playing, one of the best playing Zelda games. Just don't play it because of the way it looks. Don't do it.
And I didn't.
You fool.
Yeah. And Mega Man X4, big change. You're playable as 0 or X for the entirety of the game, but you have to choose at the beginning. Fully voiced cutscenes. I'm going to just pull it up for you real
we
quick.
go.
Zero's voice doesn't.
What are we
fit.
fighting for?
It doesn't fit his character design at all.
Zero,
Hang in there, Iris.
please, Stay away from Replophos. Let's live together. In a world where only Reploids exist.
Iris, there's no world just for Reploid. It's only a fantasy.
Yes,
I'm not reading
I
this.
know, but I wanted to believe it. I wanted to live in a world where only Reploids exist. With you.
Iris! 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 Ah! No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Can you imagine watching or playing this as a kid and your parents walk in? What are you doing? Nothing. It's Mega Man.
I just want to hear him say, "What are we fighting for?" one more time because it's so dang good.
What? What am I fighting for?
I wish that modern video games still kept the really bad voice acting that
I do
lot
too,
of older
yeah.
games had.
At least it's interesting.
That's right.
I'd rather have something interesting than fine but not exciting.
Yeah. Or Troy Baker.
Zero plays guitar.
What he does? That's so edgy.
So yes, fully voiced cutscenes, and this came out around the same time as Mega Man 8. So Mega Man X and Mega Man from 8 are the same voice actor. Unfortunately, the bosses don't all get voices like Grenade Man. Only some of the main ones, like Colonel gets voiced, Iris gets voiced, double. And this is the first time they started adding the big warning screen before a boss comes on, which is stupid. It's fine, but it's just so long, and I'm just here to fight the boss.
It's pointless. It's really pointless.
I went through your door. I know there's a boss here. Warning.
I went through 3 hallways. Obviously, I made it to the
With
end.
health pickups.
Yeah.
And I fought a sub boss already, and it seemed like I was halfway ago. But they become super forgiving in this game. They recharge weapons when you die, your special weapons, and also you can get partway through a stage, lose all your lives, and continue and stay at that part. They don't take you back to the beginning of the level. The Mega Man X games all become very forgiving from this one forward, and some of it's like, okay, I appreciate that. I don't want to play through that again anyways. But then there's also the problem of you can collect more lives or get things that you start with more lives, which become absolutely pointless and actually more of a hassle because sometimes you want to die out of a stage and you can't, and you just have to kill yourself multiple times. Do you just let people keep going and lose the live system if you can just keep replaying from a certain spot and just choose to opt out? I don't know. But there were multiple points, mostly more so in 5 and 6, but where if you just let me continue anyways, what's the point of having a life system? Yeah.
Well, and to the point now where video games don't really have a life system anymore, that's starting to get phased out. I think this is just, there's like an obligation at this point for people to put that kind of reward system or like demerit system in. Like the new Mario games, like the non-side scrolly ones, they don't really have a life system. Mario Odyssey doesn't have a life system.
Yeah. Just keep playing. Keep having fun. Yeah. We don't want there to be any sort of punishment for your fun right now.
And they don't want to kill Mario. That's just morbid.
I mean, he dies.
But he comes back to life. And it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Zombie Mario.
Oh, boy.
This game featured cheat codes for the very first time where you can enter things to unlock certain armors or infinite lives or some bullshit. I don't even know all of them.
I love that type of shit.
So in X4, the arm parts, you could get 2 different ones. You could do the stock charge, which would charge 4 like mini full shots, or the plasma charge, which is the most OP badass thing, where it leaves like the sticky thing that continually damages after it hits somebody.
I love that.
Unlockable through codes, you can get the ultimate armor, which is a plasma shot upgrade, Nova Strike, Giga Attack, as well as advanced defense and hovering in the air. These are all words. Black Zero armor as well. Overall, though, X4 I think is a really great game.
It is good.
I mean, it's a graphical overhaul. Everything is kind of rebuilt from the ground up, and it looks It looks great, and most of the level design I'm a big fan of, and I didn't remember until I started playing this again, and I was blown away. I'm like, oh, I know all of these bad guys, and I can't believe I forgot what am I fighting for, because I actually played that as a kid.
Iris! What am I fighting for?
I wanted to live in the world with the Reploids and you, Zero.
It's a very anime of its time, like, style of bullshit.
And I mean, there are anime cutscenes, and they definitely have an anime story here.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that was the trend of the time. They're even trying to do some things that seemed like would be cutting edge or like new era video game stuff, but they just executed poorly, I think. I liked how it looked, but overall the game tried for a lot of stuff and missed in my eyes.
Yeah.
And the next one that comes out, Mega Man Extreme for the Game Boy Color. This came out September 20th, 2000 in Japan. It came out in January in America that next year in 2001. This is developed and published by Capcom. Featured bosses and stages from X1 and 2. Not too much exciting to talk about here, but I have played it, and it's surprisingly competent. They do reuse most of the level design and the bosses, and it essentially takes place in Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, where you're inside of a computer replaying data versions of things, but not too much to talk about there. Mega Man X5 then came out for the Sony PlayStation November 30th, 2000. This was surprisingly a 3-year break between this and X4, which is extremely uncharacteristic of people that want to make easy money. February 1st, 2000, this came to North America. Development, Keiji Inafune intended for this to be the final game in the Mega Man X saga.
Oh, boy.
He said, I had very little to do with Mega Man X5. I just told them to finish off the series, and he said he wants Zero to die and for that death to be final. And they removed the animated cutscenes, greatly reduced the voice acting. We don't want to spend money. Get that shit out.
Yeah.
And they did. It's really weird not having animated cutscenes. They just have like a character picture and a shitload of dialogue, but whatever.
I prefer that maybe sometimes even to this day.
But it's inconsistent to all of a sudden, jump the gun and have pre-rendered cutscenes to going back to, just get it out the door.
I'm sure it bummed a lot of people out because this is also the era where any kind of trinket of like game design. So like anything that had like a cutscene in it and it was animated, you were like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like there's a cartoon in my video game.
No, and that's the thing, right? Like, can you imagine going out to buy X5 or your parents buy it for you? And it's like, what the fuck is this? There's no cutscene now. It's just this is not worth the money.
Yeah. And it's 2D. It's garbage.
That's garbage, yeah.
For X5, you actually choose X or Zero at the beginning, but you get to play as both of them if you want interchangeably. It determines if X has the Mega Man X4 armor at the start of the game, or Zero has a buster, which is incredibly terrible. Zero's buster is not worth it.
Yeah.
Always choose X if you have any sense of the right choice. They also add a great character named Alia. I think it's probably Alia. Every 5 seconds, she'll tell you how to play the game.
Yep.
Which is not annoying at all.
No, you jump over a gap and she says, this is another gap, Mega Man. You'll probably want to jump over this gap as well. This has been Alia. I'll talk to you in 5 seconds.
Mega Man, you need to eat to survive.
Yeah. Mega Man, if you eat, you gotta poop.
Mega Poop X.
Yeah. Mega Man X lax.
Oh, golly.
It's wireframe design.
And you can also, after collecting other armors, you can switch.
Polygonal shit.
Oh, it hurts.
It hurt. It hurts.
It hurts.
Mega Man X5 was the first 16 shit game. 32 shit. It was 32
shit games.
X can also swap between armors at the beginning of stages if he has unlocked them. The X Buster for the first time cannot shoot through walls. So that is a bigger change than it sounds like just on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it involves a lot more strategy instead of just being able to shoot things ahead of time. Each character also has the ability to duck, which really made Mr. Bone happy.
I like ducking. It's like It's like what?
what
X8, when we get there, there's something that just drives me nuts. But ducking, to me, made a big, big difference. I like ducking. It's a terrible game, but...
That's how I dodge bullets in real life. I just
duck,
go,
yeah.
I go, fucking try to get at me. And then they fire and I just duck, and I'm like, you fucking
You didn't know I could duck, huh?
didn't know I
fooled
could
you,
duck.
man. Now I'm going to go lick you. Dude, get away from me. It's not worth it at this point.
There's a bad guy's name is just Duck Duck with the ability to duck.
Duck, duck.
But Mega Man can't aim down, so he's a really challenging boss.
That's why you need Axel. There are viruses that will now chase your character through the stages. And this calls back.
Is it COVID?
This does tie into a story where if you're playing as X, you will be damaged and hindered by the virus. If you're playing as Zero, it actually strengthens you because the virus is derivative off of Zero after he emerged from the capsule, and then Sigma got it and it turns into a thing. There is a strange time limit system where there is a colony about to collapse and into Earth, and you have you have a time limit of 16 stage attempts before it crashes into Earth. Something also super weird is that it's RNG. So you have to defeat 4 bosses to collect the parts to build your rocket laser to shoot the thing. And even if you do that, you can shoot the laser and it might not defeat it. And then you can defeat the other enemies and get a shuttle, and the shuttle can be launched at it. And you can do everything. And there's a RNG chance it still won't stop it. Or there's a 5% chance if you don't beat any bosses and choose to shoot it right away that it can work. So
I had no idea what I was doing with that. I just, sure, let's fire it. It didn't work.
we should go out there and collect parts.
Nah, fuck it.
Fire it. It might work.
See what happens.
I'm going straight to Ganon.
If the first 2 things fail, Zero will become a maverick for the rest of the game and hunt you. Which is cool. It sounds cooler than it is. It's actually pretty boring, but
I hate time limits in games.
I feel much the same way. There are only some games where I find it acceptable.
Yeah.
Like Pikmin, I'll deal with it in a Pikmin game because those games are it's resource management. It's supposed to be a survival game at the core. But something like this, I mean, come on, man. It's an arcade platform shooter.
I don't want to I want to enjoy it. I don't want to rush through it just to beat the clock. Yeah.
what are we even fighting for? Iris!
What am I fighting for?
I'm gonna lick you.
I'm gonna lick you.
So I guess on the
He has a moral compass. He's gonna lick you. He had the free will to choose that.
But I guess on the time thing, so I'll think of like XCOM. So XCOM you can go
I love XCOM.
Yeah, great game, but I've played it so many times where I don't move fast enough or I don't do stuff. So that's almost like a time frame or a limiting thing, but it's built into the game where if you're
There will
not so
eventually be-
advanced,
yep.
you just can't win, and
Yep.
you're in like an endless cycle of just slowly losing. I kind of like that idea, which is kind of a time thing.
I think some games can make it work. Other games just kind of, they make it frustrating.
Whereas a game like Mega Man X is built upon retrying things, collecting different items, going back into stages. But after you do stop the colony, you can revisit stages without the time hindrance. They also add the fact that you have to collect all 4 armor parts before you can use any of them. Very dumb. They add ropes, which you can grab onto ropes, and then you'll slide along the rope or go up and down the rope. It looks like you're
yeah.
I don't even need to explain to you what I was doing there.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Explain it to me.
So you hold on the rope with one hand. You can either go up or down with your hand, and it takes you higher, you know?
Can you explain it in the voice of Lick Lion?
I'm going to grab you and go up and down, and then I'm going to lick you. I'm going to beat you. And then, choosing continue and losing all lives takes you right back to your checkpoint made me very frustrated. This was the first time they also added...
My weapon is sensuality.
They added Reploids that kind of like you collect, where there are scattered good Reploids through the stages that just sit there and wait for you to save them. And they can be killed, but In X5, they give you health or lives, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But they can die and you can miss them. Whatever. This doesn't offend me yet.
Not until 7.
And if this game wasn't confusing enough with the time limit and that, there's also a leveling system for bosses. There are 3 factors. The less hours left, the higher their level will be. There'll be a little number at the bottom, 1 through 99. The more Mavericks defeated, the higher the level they get. And if you rank higher than A, the next time they're higher, their level will be higher. So
I hate stuff like this.
it's so confusing. They don't explain it, and there's no reason for it.
And Aaliyah should be able to tell you.
She's been telling us everything, and she doesn't explain this one thing, and you're just waiting like, hello, is this working?
It's like they purposely tried to piss off the fan base with this game.
This is a boss, Mega Man.
Please press A.
And after defeating one main boss, after defeating bosses, you're also given the options of life up or energy up. This game confused the shit out of me. And if you're level 8, or if they are level 8 or higher, you get additional parts. So stupid. But different endings. I put bad stage design. Not the worst, but bad stage design. There are 2 different upgrade armors. You can get the Falcon armor, which allows you to fly around and be invincible while flying around. And the Gaia armor, which is no special weapons, but you're invincible to spikes, and you're essentially like a big, slow Mega Man tank, which I think these are kind of cool. I wish the Falcon armor wasn't so invincible, but it's an interesting addition, and you get to choose which armor taking into a stage.
At least they tried to do something a little bit different, albeit not great, but at least they were trying to break the mold of Mega Man.
And they have armors. Different armors is fun.
Yeah.
I think that's all right.
Yeah.
The bosses for X5 were localized by Allison Court, the voice of Claire Redfield. Her husband loved Guns N' Roses. So she named all of the bosses after members of the American hard rock band Guns N' Roses.
Mm-hmm. One of the worst decisions in gaming history.
So, as an example, what we know as Tidal Whale was originally called Duff McWhalen.
Yep.
What we know as Spike Rose Red was Axel the Red.
That's not a bad one.
That's not bad. But
Ain't great.
It ain't great. Shining Firefly was Izzy Glow. I don't know. They're just... It's odd. But whatever. This game wasn't great. And I thought it was the worst one yet, and then I played X6. We're going to skip over Xtreme 2. Another Game Boy Color game came out. You can play as Zero and this one interchangeably. It's pretty straightforward, though. Another kind of reusing bosses and stuff.
I think most of the Game Boy... Well, I shouldn't say most, but some of the newer Game Boy games were just kind of cheap offshoots, like you said before. Reuse assets, dumb it down so it can run on the shitty processor and make money. It's a cash grab.
They play fine. They're actually pretty good, but
Yeah.
nothing special to talk about. Mega Man X6 is the worst video game I might have ever played. The most poorly designed video game.
I have never touched it. So, Brad, you are point on this one, definitely.
All right. Well, this came out for the Sony PlayStation November 29th, 2001, 1 year later, and 5 days later here in North America. Development, Keiji Inafune not involved. Extremely rushed development. He was upset they were doing this. There is an opening song and a credit song with the lyrics done by the voice actor for X, only in Japan.
Wow. Okay.
Very exciting.
Super duper exciting.
That is
Changes. This is a change instead of a lazy thing. Full voice acting, but they didn't do American localization. It's only Japanese, and they left the Japanese voice acting in. X has a Z-Saber. You start with a Falcon armor, but no flying. Zero can be unlocked after defeating the Zero Nightmare. Every level has hidden portals to special areas with extra bosses. With these different special bosses, you might accidentally go in a portal. You might have to fight a boss you're not ready for. You will not be able to leave. And you have to do the other parts of that stage again because it takes you out of the level when you don't want to replay anything from Blaze Heat Nix again. The Nightmare is a new thing they add to this. So there are these little DNA helix monsters that suck. They They're in every stage, and they don't attack you. They just kind of like hover over to you, and they move in a way that's hard to avoid, and they kind of just stick to you. They're not fun to shoot. They're not fun to run away from. They're not fun in any way. And then they also have Reploids scattered through every stage in weird spots that hold parts that you might need. Not like to continue the game, but such as minimize damage, upgrade buster, limited parts. And if these nightmare creatures get to the Reploids before you do, they permanently get killed. You can never get them again. You can't replay the stage.
Jesus.
Permanently missable Reploids. And so you'll play through a stage the first time, and there are times you just won't have a chance to get to them at all, and they're permanently dead.
Where's Aaliyah to tell you about this?
She's there. She's just like, that's a bad nightmare.
Hey, Mega Man? I mean, X, you there? Yeah.
X?
I got nothing to say.
And certain stages will have nightmare effects, which the stages, they're already unplayable, and then certain times there'll be a nightmare effect, which just adds magma boulders flying the whole time, or acid rain, which just permanently damages you. When the stage was unplayable, there will be like a limited visibility, which will just give you like tiny slivers of light, and you have to try and do platforming across stupid bullshit. This is all bad. And depending on, you do get other parts. Depending on your level, you can only equip a certain number of parts. You would have to grind nightmare souls, which you get from beating these DNA monsters or replaying stages.
This sounds incomprehensible.
You'd have to grind so much in order to equip more parts. And you need these parts. Otherwise, you can't. The game fucking sucks, even though it already does. But
Extra shitty. Add grinding.
okay. I put down some thoughts on a lot of stages. Commander Yamarks. The camera locks above pits of unseeable spikes until you start dropping. This happens a lot. And you can't see where you're landing until it's too late and you hit spikes. Ground Scaravich has completely randomized sections. You'll have to replay through areas if you want to find Reploids and parts. You can't ever determine there's a lot of these sections. That pissed me off. Infinity Maginian is a visual diarrhea boss where they just put 50 things on stage and you don't know what you're attacking ever.
The level stinks.
It smells terrible. Okay. And this Blaze Heatnix is the first one where I really became frustrated. So this has 5 mini bosses that are all the same design. It's a circle. It's not animated. It just, a circle unanimated moves back and forth. You have to shoot it an obscene amount of times. It's hard to dodge. And it's not animated or interesting. They just have you fight it 5 times in different like spots of the level.
So they really utilize the hardware of the PS1.
It's, you know how they like, we're going to use wireframes and we're pushing the technology. They're like, we're not animating anything.
We ran out of money. All we can afford is a dot.
It's
make it move around.
The clarity, it's here. I'm going to pull it up. You guys just need to see how bad this is.
It sounds like over the last few Mega Man X games, they just kind of lost focus and weren't able to develop the ideas that they really wanted to put out.
They said, fuck it, let's just put it out.
You have to fight that boss 5 times in one stage. And that's not that's not the boss of the stage. And then Blaze,
the halfway point.
5 times. And then Blaze Heatnix is surprisingly very easy.
Do you get a warning before you get to him?
Yeah, it says warning. He's like, careful for this guy, and then you just beat him.
Mega Man, this is a boss.
Blizzard Wolfang, random ice falling with tons of instant kills. Rainy Turtleoid, not bad. Not bad, Rainy Turtleoid. Good job.
What?
Rainy Turtleoid?
Yeah, he's a cool looking boss too.
He's actually cool.
I liked
He's
Rainy
got his
Turtleoid.
like back turned to you. That's cool.
Oh, that's edgy.
You have no idea how edgy he is. We'll talk about that in the lore episode. Wow. Metal Shark Player, besides having the coolest name of Metal Shark Player, is the worst stage. Instant crushing compactor, extreme bullshit, and it's just essentially instant kills a billion times. And then the castle stages. It's impossible to beat the first stage without having collected items. If you don't go out of your way to collect optional items, you will not be able to beat this stage. There is a horrendous spike room with totems. So you think spikes. There are 2 different armors you can have in this game. The blade armor, which enhances your blade attack. And essentially, it's just the the more practical armor you can use. Or the shadow armor, you look like a ninja. It's kind of like the Gaia armor where you can walk on spikes. So when you go to this castle stage and it's all spikes, you think, naturally, I'll bring the spike dude. He can wall climb spikes. He can run on spikes. And you're going to run into one of the worst bosses in the game, Hymax. A lot of people have a problem with him. I don't personally. Hymax can't be hurt by the Buster. You have to use a special weapon, any special weapon to hurt him. But you beat that boss, which will piss you off. You get to the second part of the stage, the same level, and then there's an impossible jump with the shadow armor. You can't do it. And with the regular X armor, you can't. It's impossible unless you use some speed running, pixel perfect weapon change bullshit. So you have to replay the entire thing again with a different armor because they don't tell you that. I mean, it's designed to not work unless you have the flying armor.
Yeah.
So
that pisses me off.
And then you can only get the ultimate armor through a cheat code. This game is bad.
Yeah. It's not even edgy. It just sucks.
And this was so bad that the next game that came out, Mega Man X7, I'm like, it's okay. It's not X6. And I'm like, thank you.
I didn't mirror in a 2D or a 3D mode because I was confused for all of the game.
Yeah. Mega Man X7. Let's tell the people about what's going on here. Came out for the PlayStation 2, which sounds weird because this is such a step back. But this came out July 17th, 2003. 3 months later in North America. 2D and 3D. Not one or the other, but both.
Both. Because you need to do both, but we also need to dumb it down for the audience so they understand what 3D is. I don't think they understand what 3D is.
We haven't been playing, Mario 64. We haven't been playing Crash Bandicoot. We don't understand how 3D works. Can you please explain it to us, Axel? Dylan, can you explain who Axel is?
In the voice of Lickline.
No, I can't, Brad. And I take one good look at him and I go, I could not give a fucking shit.
Okay. An edgy gun-wielding character featuring black and red colors, and I'm not talking about Shadow. I'm talking about Axel. Now, I love, our characters are cool, but they're not cool enough. We need to introduce somebody that's even cooler and has a gun.
Axel kind of looks like he's from the movie Tron. The red pinstripes on the black.
Yeah.
They're really trying to dig into the nerd culture.
He's got a giant spotlight on his forehead.
Well, of course.
He talks like a prepubescent woman.
Why am I fighting?
Yeah. Okay. X7.
This is the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
2003.
So here's
2003,
what I actually didn't mind about X7. Although the aiming controls are bullshit.
Yes.
It's like you hit your trigger button or whatever controller you're using, and you can't necessarily pick what you want to aim for. It's more of you scroll around for it.
Yeah, and that doesn't work good either.
Like there's this one level you need to open a door, and there's these 4 balls, and
You have to choose the right one to shoot.
choose the right one to shoot, but you can't just choose it. No. You got to click through it, and it goes back to blue after a few seconds. So this one fucking door took me 5 minutes this morning to open.
And it's
pissed me off.
It's like It's like Simon 1, 2, 3, or 4. You just have to hit 2. Nope. Good luck.
Fooled you. I'm gonna look you now. But the implementation of the 3D was a cool aspect. It was very poorly done. It reminds you of early 3D games without your camera control, where you really don't have a good view of everything. There's this level where you're jumping from airship to airship. Sometimes you can't even tell where you need to go.
That one was really bad.
Yeah,
that one was really bad. Did you play the upside down level?
No,
that one was unplayable. Yes, you can play as Axler Zero at the start of the game. And Mega Man is retired. X is retired because he doesn't like fighting. And that's why you have to play as Axel. Axel locks onto enemies kind of automatically.
Yeah.
It takes an obscene number of shots to take anything down when you start. He also has the copy shot where certain enemies you can copy them and become them because he's the new generation Reploid. Zero is still Zero, old reliable, and they do a pretty cheap thing where they start you off on that same highway from X1 to try and like, you remember the B enemy? It's pretty cool.
Again, this is another game of its time. Just, game studios trying to figure out, okay, how do we make more money on this game? We need a new character. But he needs to be edgy as fuck.
X is boring. Give him a real gun.
What if we call him like something really cool like Axel? You know that band Guns N' Roses? Yeah.
But
they have
someone's like,
Axel on
wait,
there.
remove the E.
Yeah, the vowel. He's an aversion to vowels.
That's
canon.
that's edgy.
It's like, if I could speak without vowels, I would.
Vowels are such a fucking waste of time.
Axel's copy shot is
Phonetics.
very useful. You can use it 12 on 12 different enemies, and you won't even know that it's possible most of the time.
12, you say?
12.
Wow.
Double digits.
Oh.
Axel can acquire 3
6
unique...
times 2.
Oh my God.
What have we done?
What happened?
Dear God, what have we done? The world is not ready for this.
Axel can acquire 3 unique guns, which need to be equipped. Zero can acquire different weapons as well. Animated full motion video and English voice acting return. Zero can return projectiles with the saber. I like that. The lock on was very poorly implemented.
Yeah.
They do return with missable Reploids and all of their parts, which you weren't ready that very first time you saw that or you got hit. Sorry, that thing's permanently missable now.
But all the Reploids have ridiculous names. Like, oh, I just saved Barry. There's Tim. Oh, Evan. I totally just got Evan, bro. And then there's
It's
like
true.
Yokomoto.
It says Evan.
Yeah. And then randomly there's a Japanese name in there. And then it goes back to like fucking Bob and Tim and
I put
Ryan.
down names such as Chuck, Paul, Gary, Carlos, and Tracy.
Carlos.
Power ranking of names.
They just went through like alphabetical, like a list of like popular baby names or something.
Oddly enough, the first X game to not feature ladders or boss shutters. You do unlock X after saving 64 different Reploids or defeating the 8 main bosses. I put truly horrible hover cycle stage and upside down cyberfield stage. Sigma's the bad guy. I can appreciate they wanted to do a 3D game. Some of the platforming's not terrible. Most of it is a big mess, but it's not 6, so I love it.
I give him credit for trying. Like I said, it wasn't done well, but at the same time, a lot of 3D platformers during that time were not great because they were exploring on how to do it, and this is a really good example of that.
Well, especially when this development team is not in the business of making a 3D platform.
That's right. But
you remember those early like PlayStation 2, like we want to do like they still wanted to do like the collectathon, so we came up with like we had like Vex, or we had like just a bunch of different like throw them against the wall type of characters tied to the Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah.
Where they were still trying to figure out what it meant, what movement. They're still trying to figure out what movement meant in the 3D space. And the fact that you wanted to make something actiony that focuses on shooting, and then that the platforming must have been a secondary thought.
And on top of that, like there's this one little aspect that I found really frustrating with the 3D platforming aspect.
Yeah.
And you're doing the 3D because it tells you, which is really, really handy. So
3D. Mega Man, you're now in 3D.
you can run around and jump at the same time. You know, you hold forward and you jump.
Oh, sure.
When you get to like a platform that you have to jump up onto,
Sickening.
if you continue to hold up or whatever direction you're going, you can't jump. You have to stop pressing the direction and then jump up. It's very archaic.
I will say, if I had started with Mega Man,
Croc?
if I started with Mega Man X7, this would be a 1 out of 10. Playing this after X6, I'm like, goddamn, 4 out of 10. Like, you are a video game, even if you suck. Can you imagine being the kid with a PlayStation 2 that gets this? And it is literally the most unplayable garbage. This is a PlayStation 1 game, but it's on the PlayStation 2, and This is Mega Man. I love Mega Man. And you play as Axel, and you can't get past the first stage because it's obtuse. But
Yeah, but look at the size of the spikes that come out of his back for no reason.
oh, it's so good.
No, man, they have a purpose.
Yeah.
He's kind of a rebel.
He's a pacifist.
I really identify with Axel.
Oh, really?
He's got a gun.
And yes, you fight
very-
Flame
very
Hyenard, Ride Borsky, Snipe Anteater, and Vanishing Gungaroo. There's actually only one enemy. Okay, I tried to find a new Grenade Man for this Mega Manuary, and it wasn't possible. Nothing's as good as Grenade Man, but the closest I found was Tornado Tunyon. It's bad.
Fan favorite.
It's bad, but this was the best thing I could find, so let's listen to some Tornado Tunyon.
He made me cry the first time.
Axel, you grow up handsome boy, yeah? But I grow up handsomer boy.
Sounds like fucking Jar Jar Binks.
I'm going to turn that down a little
Me
bit.
so sorry, Mega Man.
I am onion. I am a literal walking onion
let's hear this-
robot.
let's
Who
hear this
made
one.
me? Why?
Let's hear this brilliant dialogue one more time.
Axel, you grow up handsome boy, yeah? But I grow up handsomer boy.
He grows up handsomer boy. Now, let's hear some more Tornado Tunyon.
UBX, I ask you a favor, yes? Stop us. Stop Red, please, yeah?
What?
It's Professor. Professor redesign us. We no longer.
Professor? Who the heck is that?
We no control, yeah? Can't stop. None of us. Please save us. We becoming something else.
End it, please. End it. And kill me, please.
And just we'll play one clip of Ride Borsky.
Ride Borsky.
It's not great, but
So you're the big cheese.
Big cheese? Ugh. How dare you call me that? I'm the head honcho, for crying out loud.
How dare you call me that? I'm lactose intolerant.
that would make more sense than how the big cheese isn't
That would
like
have been a funnier
negative.
line.
Yeah, that's the best I could find.
I think the
Do
sad part.
Reploids dream of eating cheese?
Do Reploids dream of electric cheese?
Easy Isaac Asimov.
Yeah.
And anything else? That's most of what I had to say about X7.
What's sad is that the voice actor that did the Tunyon guy, that's probably the highlight of his career.
Oh, sure.
Jamie, you grew up to be handsome boy, but I grew up to be handsomer boy. And lore-wise, Tornado Tunyon takes over a satellite tower and just is broadcasting himself dancing to the world.
Well,
that's how he goes mad. The virus takes him over. He's like, everyone has to watch me dance. So, I mean, there's almost like a Sander Cohen nature to Tunyon.
I can relate to that. That's what I would do if I went mad.
Yeah, I mean, you already do that. You send me a lot of videos.
A lot of videos, yeah.
You say you grew up handsomer boy. I'm like, okay, man. Here, I'll throw you a like. Mega Man X8 was an apology. Came out on the PlayStation 2 December 7th, 2004. In North America, came out in Japan 4 months later, oddly enough.
Fuck, wow.
That's backwards.
The development, the game subtitle is Paradise Lost, which of course references the John Milton epic. The Jacob orbital elevator is based on Jacob's ladder, and one of the stages is Noah's Park. You do the math. So yeah, this game, it's very symbolic. There's a lot of heavy themes. The story, this is when it pinnacles.
It's very deep, like the deep soil that is the earth.
There is no 3D sections.
It's like 2.5.
There is 2.5D, but you're playing on a 2D plane most of the time. 2 stages are fully 3D vehicle levels. One of them is terrible, one of them is good. They introduce guard break, where certain enemies have shields that can only be broken by certain character abilities.
That was frustrating to try to figure out.
And saying certain character abilities is so they're being so nice to themselves. Zero's character ability, just hit X a lot in front of him. Axel's character ability, just combo them a bunch. Axel's is just shoot him a bunch. Mega Man's is charge shot them. So it's really not character abilities.
But at least Axel can like aim in like up, down, forward. Mega Man, sorry, X, you can shoot forwards. It's
So-
like, why would you ever fucking use them other than your blast shot, like your charge shot?
X is more powerful. And the reason they took X out of 7 at the beginning is they knew no one would play this stupid fucking Axel character. So they made you have to. And they played the same essentially in X7. This one they played different, where Axel plays more like Bass from Mega Man and Bass. When he shoots, he can't move.
That's right.
And he aims whenever he's shooting, and he's stationary, and he can also like hover permanently and just shoot after you start jumping in the air. So he has more of an aiming ability. You choose 2 characters to bring into the stage, and you can choose Mega Man or Zero or Axel, and then the different armor permeations of Mega Man. It's called Tag Assist. And you can also be incapacitated by an enemy, and then if you switch in, you will do an attack and get you out of that. You also have a navigator. You don't have to have Alia. You can also have...
But why would you not have Alia? She's so helpful.
She's so good.
Always there for you.
And you also can have Layer and Palette, but they have different strengths.
Yeah, I think one will indicate when there's like hidden aspect or like a hidden passageway. Alia or Alia just annoys the fuck out of you like normal. There was one more, wasn't there?
And Palette, but mostly you don't have to ever listen to them. You can not listen and just skip it, which is great. No Reploids and parts. I put thank Lumine. X can customize part by part. Axel gets unique weapons. Zero gets unique weapons like hammers, fans, and Sigma's blade. Axel can do the copy shot. 4 options this game.
Wow.
So
12 was too much, and it was too extreme for the fan base, so they had to really divide by 4, 8, 12, 3. I had to do the math.
Just a sec. Yeah, 3.
Enhance.
Yep, 3.
Enhance.
3.2.
You collect rare metals as upgrades. It's another name for part or chip. The armors are the Icarus armor or the Hermes armor. And the biggest change, Sigma isn't the final boss. He is the penultimate boss who is being taken advantage of by Lumine, who is actually not your friend.
What? Damn. How dare they take advantage of Sigma?
Spoiler warning. Okay, sorry. Sorry, everybody. Overall, X8 was fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. It didn't. Neither 7 or 8 feel like Mega Man is the problem.
They do not, but 8 feels more like a Mega Man than 7. 8 looks good, but it's not a Mega Man game.
And yeah, it's fine for what it is, but some of the stages are okay.
Yeah.
Mostly, I felt embarrassed playing it. My niece is over Christmas like, what are you playing? I'm like, go do something.
Get out of my face.
I'm trying to fight Gravity Antonian and Avalanche Yeti.
I just made it to Lick Lion, and he's looking me like you wouldn't believe.
You taste weird.
Maybe you should really leave the room.
This is Uncle Brad's personal time right now.
There were a number of re-releases. Maverick Hunter X came to the PSP where they decided to do a remake instead of X9. Vile is a playable character with his own campaign. It included a 25-minute anime called The Day of Sigma. The Mega Man X collection came to GameCube and PS2, included X 1 through 6. Maverick Hunter is something we should talk about. First-person shooter was being developed based on the X series and developed by Armature Studio. It was canceled in 2010, and it wasn't announced for a while afterwards. It was planned as a trilogy, and I watched the 3-4 minute demo. It looks pretty good, actually. It looks really.
I only saw screenshots.
Let's watch a little bit of it real quick.
Was it as good as Chex Man?
Better
than Chex Man? I don't know, man. I bought that cereal for that game.
But Chex Man is like an iconic sexual symbol.
Chex, I don't know if that made it to Canada. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I don't like Mega Man's design.
Oh, this is 2010 in a fucking nutshell.
This is just going to be, it's just Metroid Prime.
Well, and it's very Doomish to me. It's very fast.
And look, he can't aim up either,
the way you
just like
jump
Mega Man.
forward.
Really sticking to their guns. Can't aim up.
I'm gonna develop a robot. I'm gonna call him Mega Man. He can only shoot forwards. It looks kind of cool.
I mean, if it played just like this, it'd be dope. But like, not for a minute do I believe.
Demo, yeah.
It's not even a gameplay demo. This might as well be a cinematic.
Oh yeah.
It looks like bad Halo.
It moves like Doom to me. It reminds me of 2016's Doom.
When was this released?
This wasn't.
When
This was a
when were
canceled
they
game.
developing?
It was canceled in 2010.
To me, this
Okay.
is all. This is Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime has some like actual
No, I
things going on.
I
this is
agree.
weird
Like,
where-
I love Metroid Prime, but this is just it's like an early version of Metroid Prime.
And then you enter a stationary spot where you can just move the reticle.
Wait, he can aim up now?
Only here.
Only while he's falling.
But this was something they were touring with as a first-person shooter spin-off of Mega Man X. And it doesn't look terrible. It, of course, wasn't finished, and we don't know what it actually is, but it looks something I'd be curious about.
I don't think even if they finished it, I don't think it would have sold well though.
No,
I think it would have been better than X7 and X8. Which I don't know if it
also
means
would have
much.
lost the entirety of the flair of people who understand what a Mega Man game is to just suddenly like shift and then take away all the parts that kind of make it interesting. Like it's kind of a weird anime, like it's all energy weapons, and then to make it like just a gun. It's so fucking weird.
We're not going to talk too much about Mega Man X Command Mission. Suffice it to say, there is a turn-based RPG for the GameCube and PS2 with Mega Man X, Zero, Axel, and other characters. We might talk about this in a Doggies After Dark later, or we might save it for Mega Manuary X 2034. After we emerge from our capsules.
Whew, just
Put the
talking
kids
about
to bed.
turn-based strategy Mega Man got me a little worked up here. I'm gonna have to calm down.
Yeah.
Do you need to go visit Lickland?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna relax you.
I'm going to relax on you. Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2 are pretty awesome. Mega Man X Dive is some mobile bullshit. Other appearances, X shows up in the TV show for 1 episode, 2 episodes. Dead Rising, he's an outfit. Project X Zone is some bullshit. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Sigma merges with Ultron, and Dylan wants to go visit Lickman just hearing that.
No, I don't care for that idea.
And Mega Man X, that's the series in a nutshell.
I mean, it's a good
It's okay.
for things that start out so brilliant,
So
and then
promising.
fall apart. This is the kind of shit that, I mean, back in the day, you had to keep making things until it artistically eats itself.
Bankrupt.
And now we have the choice to be like, we don't have to keep making these things.
And not
all
even
the fucking
artistically though. It's more of we will keep making it if people keep buying it.
No, that's
it
true.
had no it had no artistic integrity realistically.
time. That part's true.
It's weird. You think there is a market. If you make something that plays and looks like Mega Man X1, you call it Mega Man X9, people will buy it.
Yeah.
Release it on like digital, and it'll be great. It's like Mega Man 9 and 10. Those games are great. The ones that are just the NES style,
Yeah.
those are great. And Mega Man 11 is really good too, but you needed 9 and 10 to get there. I think if they did make an X9 that sticks to the fucking roots and ditches some of the other bullshit, I don't know. I think
all the ideas that they would have put into something like that, they already put into Mega Man 11. I think that...
Does 11 have dash and wall jumping? I don't think so.
No, but it has
either.
the gear system, which is interesting. And I think a lot of the concepts and ideas, I think they like their Mega Man fans, but I think at the same time, I don't think that's what they want to focus on anymore.
They should just
They're making way too much money with Resident Evil and Monster Hunter to be like, oh yeah, more Mega Man games. Let's do it.
They should just make it realistic. Mega Man 80, and he's like this fucking like geriatric guy with a cane.
Yeah.
But he can't.
I like
He
it.
can't aim his cane out.
It's about him contemplating about how his body is starting to betray him, and he's just really ready for it to end.
And he's really, really bitter about life.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that would be Mega Man
He's got a
L.
lot of weird thoughts about politics.
Mega Man LXXX. That's the
Yes.
Roman numerals for 80. So that would be Mega Man 80.
Mega Man licks.
He downloads Fox News into his
And he
cyber
yells at children playing on his
I'm
lawn.
really tired.
Fox News said drink bleach.
Oh, Mega Man. This is something that I'm glad I did, that I played through the X 1 through 8, and even the Game Boy Color ones, which are just like little couple hour things, but I'm glad I played through them. I'm glad I know what's going on in them, but if I had to say what my favorite one is, Mega Man X1, followed by Mega Man X4, least favorite X6
Through 8.
X7. X7 is worse than 8, but I don't know. This is a dead series. They're not doing anything with it anymore other than Mega Man X Dive, which is some mobile bullshit. But I still have a lot of fondness for the games.
Yeah.
Despite the bad ones, which I'm glad. I don't know. I like playing bad games though too. It makes me appreciate game design when it's better. Yeah.
The series has been beaten like a dead horse. It's just like, again, the money aspects and things along those lines. It seemed right after they got done with the first like 3, they just pressed really hard to continue the release dates and add more features that they just didn't work through.
Like every sports game now, I say this liberally, but Assassin's Creed, what we talked about, it's the year after year after year of games where you buy the same fucking game over and over again with, now you can jump, or now you can do this, and it's a cash grab.
And there are people who like certain games, these big popular games. They love playing them over and over again, and they don't mind like it. I'm not gonna like game shame people either, but it's like I'm like, yeah, all right.
Give me something new.
Yeah.
Like some of those games are actually quite good games, but when you play it for the 5th time with a different title, then it gets a little bit stagnant.
I call it the Ubisoft effect.
Yeah.
Those all might as well be the same game.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the design for the characters. We'll save that for the lore. Sigma as a villain is something that I'm curious on some of your thoughts.
Silly boy.
But does anyone else have any, like, what is your personal, like, you guys haven't played through all of them, but do you have
X1? I mean,
what's your favorite besides X1? How about
X2?
Okay.
And then
3 is going to keep going.
And then it'd be X3. It tends to have a slope.
Yeah.
To me, X4 was probably my favorite.
It might be my favorite too. X1 is so classy, but X4 is beautiful, and what they did with the series is great.
It was a good progression of the game, of the story, of the world, without going too extreme with 3D and all that bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
Being I guess more of a classical fan of the games, I did, and I only played the first half. I didn't get into what the dumpster fire of the later games was, which I'm kind of thankful at this point.
You should.
I didn't think they were bad. I was against them starting them, honestly. And even when I was younger, I remember just loving the early Mega Man games and just kind of like mostly being a hater. Just kind of Mega Man X, like why? Who is Zero? Do I actually care? Do I want to do this again? And I was like, no, because the dedication I had to put in the first ones and beating them as a child was just piss poor. And I was just bad. I'm still bad at games. Let's be real. I play them because I like them.
Me too, dude.
Yeah, I'm just
It's no sweat.
never going to be a professional gamer because that's a thing nowadays.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, I thought they were better than I gave them credit. I'll, I guess, just leave it at that, I suppose.
And I just like designs. I just think it's fun. I like goofy robot things that are also animals. Like it's right up. It's they're just really interesting to look at. Like, I'm just like, oh, it's nice to think about this.
Dylan likes colors and moving things.
Yes, I like shapes.
Some of the anime designs. Some of the anime designs are good, and they realize we can't have everything be humanoid. So now they are also Antonians, stags, and necrobats, and that's cool.
It was a cool concept. I mean, they got rid of the whole, again, man and single woman theory and went to like plants and animals, which is cool because, again, it will get in on lore, I guess.
Because they're robots and it doesn't matter what they are, right?
But is a Reploid a robot? I don't remember what it all is.
They should just do like a
later.
vegetarian, gluten-free version where, it's all like veggies and quinoa.
Yeah, I'd play. Dylan's face.
We created 4 Reploids in this episode. We have Lick Lion, Popsicle Parrot, Duck Duck, and Tubby Troglodyte.
And also, I'm adding one, Casual Kale. Yeah,
I'm here to fight you.
Well, whatever.
I kind of taste like dirt sometimes.
Don't forget to wash me
I
before
hope you brought
eat me.
ranch.
You could put me in a power smoothie.
He surfs. Very vegan.
Yeah, dog.
Opinions. I got opinions on the kale. I'm just gonna keep it to myself.
Oh, I don't like kale.
The
Or
raw
I could eat
dogs.
it, though.
The raw dogs are part of Hair the Dogcast, which is also a part of the HyperX Podcast Network. And we are supported by such wonderful Patreon executive producers as Brian Blizzard Buffalo, Crescent Kip Grizzly, Rainy Ryan Turtleoid, Tornado TK Onion, and Commander Katie Bone Yamark, who is a new executive producer.
Yeah.
So thank you for supporting us, everybody. If you want to support the Raw Dogs, you can check us out on patreon.com/hairthedogcast. We do have bonus episodes such as coming in 2 weeks, the Yakuza Like a Dragon episode, which will be Patreon exclusive, as well as a lot of other secret bonus episodes, as well as an entire extra show called Doggies After Dark, which is us after drinking, after podcasting, where I try and make Dylan talk about Marvel, but mostly I want to pitch a Mega Man X game to people for this next one. So support us on there. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Hair the Dogcast, on Twitter at Hot Dogcast, and that's all that I have to say about the gameplay of the X series. There's a lot of story that needs to be talked about, but anyone else have anything they want to throw in?
And that's all I have to say about that.
Again, I heard Forrest
I am
Gump.
not excited for the lore episode of this.
I think there's a lot of depth to the lore for Mega Man X, and compared to Mega Man the original, I think
It's definitely edgier.
yeah, ooh, it's so edgy.
One guy has a sword.
That's sharp.
But like
Thanks for listening, everybody.